introducing ourselves.
Yes.
Go ahead, Rowan.
So I am Rowan Clarke. I am an outdoor swimming writer. I guess I don't know, I've made my career all around outdoor swimming. So I have coached, I swim, and I write about it and test gear and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds like the dream job.
It kind of is.
So I'm Rebecca from Catch. We are a digital swim coach. And Rowan is one of our lovely members. So we're here to talk about all things outdoor swimming, pushing ourselves, and using coaching and training as a way to achieve those goals.
I decided to train for the Dart 10K, which is a bit of a leap to go from 1 mile to 10K. And then after that, the training for that was nuts. This is quite a funny story, actually. While I was training for the Dart 10K, the Dart 10K is at the beginning of September. It's always at the beginning of September. And that meant the training was during the school summer holidays. And at that point, I had, my youngest would have been 4. So I had a 4-year-old, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, 3 to entertain during the summer holidays, because my work was term time only as well. And I remember going down to the marine lake, putting the 3 children in a rubber dinghy, attaching the rubber dinghy to my foot, and attempting to swim lengths. I think I managed like 2 lengths of the marine lake.
Good effort. So that's about 500 metres.
Yeah, but I kept having to stop and put the youngest one, who was 4, back in the dinghy. Stay there.
Kept wanting to swim.
So yeah, he just kept jumping out. He thought it was hilarious. So it was a disaster, and I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to train for, at this stage in my life, I don't have the bandwidth to train for a long swim. I've got a busy mind, I've probably got ADHD, I'm, stressed, busy, anxious, all those kind of mental health things I found were calmed down by swimming.
Yeah. Does swimming feel like a bit of medicine to you?
Yeah, it really does. It's really meditative. And I've always struggled with meditation because I'm bored. I've got quite busy. But I think what happens when you're in the water is you get that, you have to think about what your body's doing. And that's kind of what kind of brings me back to wanting to be coached now, which is quite funny. Having been a coach, it's quite funny to come back to being coached. But when you're coaching other people, you put a lot of energy into other people and you neglect yourself. And I think what's happened is I've got to a point where I can swim in a way that's almost like I can swim without having to think about what I'm doing. And I need that challenge.
And I think there is something about, you mentioned about your connection to your body, how you feel about your body, right? In those periods of time when, you've just had a child, or you're coming out of an injury or an illness, and swimming's such an amazing way of giving you that weightlessness in the water, and being able to sort of reconnect with your body in a different way.
Yeah, and that's been really significant for me because, I've got body dysmorphic disorder, and I've had an eating disorder in the past. But also I was really crap at sport at school, apart from swimming. And it's that capableness, it's kind of being, and it doesn't matter how, I'm 45 now, but in terms of physical fitness, I'm in really good shape. So it doesn't really matter how old you are or how physically capable you are or what your backstory is. You're able to find that space in swimming, and wherever you are in your journey, there's room to go a little bit further, however that might look. So it's not even necessarily about getting faster or swimming further. It might just be about achieving that flow state and getting into that big, comfortable and confident out of your depth, or swimming in choppy water when you haven't done that before. There's always something you can do, and it makes you feel really good about yourself.
Absolutely. Many sports are like this, but swimming is very much a sport where you can be so incredible at it, regardless of your body type and age. You can be at your best at any stage in your life, no matter what your body looks like. And something I love about outdoor swimming is that seeing people go through that journey of loving themselves and seeing the capabilities of their body and the lack of judgment in that space. There's something about getting all your kit out off, getting into the water and being amazed at the fact that you can float, that you can move forwards, that you can feel that flow. And you can do so in really cold temperatures as well, you know? Like, it's really incredible what the body's capable of. And I think outdoor swimming in particular, you know, that connectedness with nature as well, that feeling of euphoria of going from cold to holding your warm drink afterwards. For me, it's really amazing just how much you can get from that combination of pushing yourself through what you didn't think you could do, and the contrast of cold and hot, the social element of it, being out in nature. There's just so many things that are just so good for your mind and good for your body.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think that quite often people are put off events because they think that, I don't know, you're paying to do it and there's that pressure and you feel like you have to perform. And it might be kind of reminiscent of, in your mind before you do it, it might be kind of reminiscent of, I don't know, sports day or something like that. So, you know, there might not be a positive association with doing that sort of thing. But actually, open water events, again, there is just this enormous range of events. So I mentioned the Dart 10K. The Dart 10K is an event where you get in at one end and you get out at the other end. And, you know, you probably wear a wetsuit and you probably have to swim front crawl. But, you know, I've done other events like the Portishead Popsicle, where so the Portishead Popsicle is a cold water, it's basically a swimming gala in freezing cold water, which is just ridiculous.
Makes you feel like a kid.
It does. It brings back that kind of playfulness and that kind of being a child, and it is a ridiculous thing to do. And you kind of, if you could take a sort of overview from way up high and look down on these people who are shivering cold and wearing like weird outfits, but it's massively inclusive, and you have, you know, we dressed up as naked Marge Simpson one year. So the team of four of us, we had yellow morph suits, our faces were yellow, and we had sewn-on breasts and a lovely little lady garden. A big one, actually, I have to say. There's a sweet spot that I can feel when I'm swimming well. And it's when my stroke is really smooth and it feels powerful and I can feel the bubbles rippling past my face and I feel super relaxed. And, you know, that might be the goal, that I swim more efficiently. You know, I go further with less effort, which is what everybody wants, right?
I'm following a catch program myself. I'm in week 40 at Open Water race program.
Cool.
And it's amazing how I built this technology. I am my own coach at the moment, but I still feel a real sense of like, I want to complete my sessions. I want to see them through to the end. Yeah. I feel an accountability. And it's amazing how quite small things can create that feeling and commitment. I want to see this training through. I also know the value of just turning up and doing it, getting that consistency, building that habit.
Yeah.
And for me, it just makes it easy to stick to that habit there.
Yeah.
That only gets me feeling those things that you described, the flow state with swimming, the effort there is more being able to swim further with less effort. And so, yeah, I totally agree with everything you've said.
It's interesting, isn't it, that we're both coaches, but it's quite hard to coach yourself.
Yes.
And you kind of almost need, I know you've written the programs and you're following your own program, but you kind of need that. You need that little bit of input, that little bit of external input. And whether that's, you know, something you've written the program down on your card and you're following it, but you still, it's just having that, it's almost like a bit of accountability to yourself, but you have to kind of make that accountability external in order to believe it. I cannot state value enough of getting sort of help, putting together a training plan, and having to think about the steps to working towards those training plans. And a lot of focus is on front crawl, and it doesn't have to be, but front crawl is very easy to break down into little steps. So, and that's what I love about as well. I'm a natural crawl swimmer. I think I used to find this when I taught babies, even like tiny little babies, some of them would naturally alternate their leg kick, but some of them would kick both legs at the same time. So I think some people are natural breaststroke swimmers and some people find front crawl easier. And I love crawling, but there are things that you can do to improve breaststroke as well. It's not just about getting your head down and swimming front crawl. And I think that is for both events and for training for events. I think it's really important to talk about the fact that it doesn't matter what your starting point is, and it doesn't matter what your goal is. It's about the journey.
Absolutely, I agree with all of that. And I think I would also add that having a sit down and to think about why you're doing it in the first instance, early doors will really help further down the line. So really nailing down, why is it that you're excited about it? Why are you wanting to take on this challenge? Why does it really matter to you? Because if I feel you've got that down, like you understand why you're doing it, that then gives you that fire when the training starts to feel a little bit tougher, or when you get those nerves on the day. I think that's when your mindset can really pull you through, like your belief in yourself, your belief in why you're doing it. And I so agree with you about just getting a training plan and or a coach.
I would just say, don't be afraid to, in fact, do be afraid and then do it anyway. I was talking to somebody only yesterday who has gone through a period of ill health and is really struggling with chronic condition, just chronic physical condition, and it really felt like she's waiting for an operation. She really felt like she wasn't able to swim at the moment, and she was very down about it. And she said that yesterday she went to the river with her stuff, and she sat on the edge of the river and she thought about something for 45 minutes, and then she got in. And at first she just got up to her shins, and then she went to swim, and then she got out, and it was a total game changer. Like, the difference in the mindset before and after was completely different. So sometimes it is just as simple as getting in. Other times it, depending on where you are, what sort of swimming you are, what sort of swimming you enjoy, what sort of swimming you want to do, it can be bigger than that. It can be about swimming a distance or about swimming in a new place. But do the thing. I think that's my main advice, is just do the thing and get support. There are loads of people out there to support you. And it's easy, that with digital, being in a digital world, having the option of digital coaching makes it easier.
Love that. Thanks so much, Rowan.
Thank you.